Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and a new episode of Career Mode. It's been a long time, but we are finally back here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Now, if you guys did miss the last race at Baku, it was quite a while ago. There will be a card in the top right hand corner of your screen. Also, there's a link down below to the full playlist all the way back to episode number 1. Now, personally, I would recommend watching the first 4 races back from Australia all the way to Baku, because it is the start of season 5 and it's only round number 5 of the season now, so I think it's worth it if you have a little bit of spare time and you need a couple of videos to catch up on, especially if you haven't seen them or don't remember them. So yeah, please do that and do me a favour, guys, and also check out my video from yesterday, me talking about the 3 things that are broken in this year's game that have to be fixed for F1 2019, because it's a very big video and some good visual examples, and also I want your feedback in the comments in that video. But nonetheless, we are here for round 5 for the Spanish Grand Prix for the return of Career Mode. We're going to try and see how this goes, and you saw on screen a moment ago we had a brand new control electronics upgrade for this race weekend, and as you can see the R&D chart here, refreshing our memory a little bit, pretty spread out, to be fair. No one's really that close to each other. Ferrari do have a little bit of competition in the form of Renault, and we're currently the 4th fastest car behind Sauber. So yeah, hopefully we can start focusing on trying to get some performance related upgrades on the car very soon to try and really improve the pace of this silver arrow. But with that being said, we are now going to jump into the usual qualifying session. Remember, for season 5 we actually scrapped practice because it was not, I won't say a waste of time, but it was getting a bit boring with the same old repetitive things. And it was also a way to slow down the R&D development, because the AI, as we know, are very slow doing upgrades, so it's a way of keeping it balanced and only getting the points that I accumulate via qualifying and race. Also, once again, reminding you guys that I am running the short qualifying format to avoid timing bugs as best as I possibly can, which means I basically do the whole session and watch the whole session and hopefully avoid those issues, because yeah, you never know when they could strike. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, once again, watch my video from yesterday. But that being said, let's jump into qualifying here at Spain. Let's see how things shake out with this Mercedes car. It's been a while since I've driven it, so it took me a little while. I had to do quite a few laps in practice, and also it took me quite a while to find a setup to the point where I felt happy with the balance of the car without overheating the tyres, which is a critical factor around this circuit. Currently, there you can see we've gone out on the second of the 3 fastest tyres available, and those are the softs, so the slowest being the mediums and the fastest being the super softs. And we've got a bank lap in there as we then go on to a set of super softs to try and improve on our previous lap. Currently P9 here on the softs, but we're already on for a big improvement on the red stripe super soft tyres as we go towards sector number 2. A big screen freeze there you can see on screen, and getting very loose, and it kind of cost me about a tenth or so through that section, and just kind of unsettled the car a little bit as we now go towards sector number 3, purple middle sector here, losing the back end a little bit on rotation there through the hairpin, but still, and now out the final corner, as you can see there, carrying the speed through the chicane and through the final corner, currently about a second up on our previous best as we run up to the line, and we do go up to second place, and a very decent lap there, actually quite caught me by surprise, and our pace is actually pretty good. I'm very impressed and kind of surprised at how quick the Mercedes car is around here, considering where we are on the R&D chart. But nonetheless, we're now going to ride on board for a full lap of this circuit, and let's see what we can do as we race down towards turn 1. You want to brake just before the 50-meter ball, down to 4th gear, attack the first apex, and you want to really attack the second one, get 2 wheels over the curb, a little bit of a snappy rear end on the exit as we now go flat out through turn 3, carrying the speed, not running too wide, and so far a decent sector 1 as we now go towards the start of sector 2, turn number 4, the right hander here. It's all about keeping the front end tucked in and the back end stable as we now go down the hill. Very important to use second gear to really rotate the front end on this corner, and then focus on your traction as we now go towards the chicane. This left right combo here, very tricky section 7 and 8, carrying the momentum through, nicely done as we now go pretty much flat out through turn 9 here, carrying all the momentum up the hill, DRS wide open, and we now look for the 100-meter ball to brake just before that, down to second gear for the hairpin. I use first to actually rotate the nose because I go a little bit too hot on the brakes, although we are currently purple though in sector 2. Vettel setting the pace out front though with a very strong lap there in the 1 minute 13 as we now go through the final couple of corners here in the final chicane. Raikkonen is now P2, so we are down to the second row on the grid, getting that chicane nicely hooked up there, carrying the momentum through, getting a good exit, and that is going to be our lap here at Spain. Coming across the line, and we are going to go P2 in the qualifying session, and a front row start at Spain, something that I did not expect and something that I'm very, very happy with, and the car working absolutely beautifully around this circuit, and I was ecstatic with that result, to be honest with you, especially considering where Lewis Hamilton is and everyone else in and around the top 10, and just generally the pace of this car. So a very successful session for us. Vettel dominating in pole position there, 2 tenths clear, and the only man into the 1 minute 13s. But all in all, That's going to be it for qualifying, and the real tricky part now is in the race tomorrow of the tyre temperatures overheating, and fingers crossed we could try and manage that and keep it under control. I've managed to do my best with setup work to try and manage it, and also turn my graphics settings down to keep FPS as high as possible, but now we're going to see if this really helps us out as we get into the real challenge of 33 laps around the Spanish Grand Prix circuit. With that being said, let's jump into it here for the race. Let's go.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mercedes. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Martinez completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Leclerc, Nico Hülkenberg, and Sainz, Alonso, Hamilton, Perez, and Max Verstappen, Ricciardo, Ericsson, Pierre Gasly, and Ocon, Van Dorn, Hartley, Kevin Magnussen, and Roman Grosjean. Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Right then guys, here we are on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. Front row start, second place alongside Sebastian Vettel here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Overcast conditions expected throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. And strategy-wise, we're going to go from a two-stop strategy. Super softs onto mediums. Pretty straightforward. And everyone in the top 10 more or less is going to have to do the exact same thing. And then we'll have to wait and see what people outside the top 10 do on a different strategy. But all in all, the real threat in this race is going to be tyre temperatures. If we can keep it under control, we'll be looking very good, I think, for this race. And I think the target is going to be a podium because considering our car pace, I think I'd like to say we could win the race, but I'm being realistic, it might be a bit unlikely. And I also cannot actually remember where I'm in the championship, so it'd be nice to get some decent points and then see what that means for the championship standings, which I have no idea about going into this race. So that being said, let's just jump into it and let's see how this race goes. It's time for round 5 for the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's go. Right, here we go then. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights here at Catalonia. The lights are on and they are off, and away we go. Not a bad start of Vettel though, look at that, the second phase of that start, absolutely incredible. I'm going to try and cover off the inside here and not let cars get past me. Down towards turn 1 we've lost 2 places to Hülkenberg and Raikkonen, not ideal by any means. Even though the original start wasn't actually that bad, it was the second phase where the AI really got the hammer down. Either way, we're underway now. Now let's see if we can try and make some things happen this race, and fingers crossed tyres don't overheat. That's the main one I'm kind of hoping for, is that we can keep the tyres, at least basically stick to the strategy and not have to worry too much about tyre saving. But so far, so good. Vettel leads, Raikkonen P2, Hülkenberg P3, and Leclerc behind us in the Sauber. No sign of Lewis. I think he's actually lost the place, to be fair, looking at the minimap. We seem to be down on straight line speed already here from what I can tell. Either way, lap 1 in the books. Now it's all about starting to manage things a little bit here. Can't lie, the race pace is very strong here. I've almost forgotten how fast these Season 5 cars are in career mode because it's been that long since I've done this career mode series. I've been driving bog standard performance F1 cars from 2018. These cars are so quick and it's taken me a while to match up to the pace. 17.6 from Vettel, we do at 18.5, so pretty much a second off Sebastian's pace. Here comes Leclerc in the Sauber, he's starting to gain on me here, but not really enough. as DRS is now enabled in this race, and Hulkenberg's starting to drop off. The Ferraris are starting to really pull away here now, so I think it might be a battle for the podium, like I mentioned at the start. Right then, let's have a look. Left rear 103%. Yellow flag there, Sorokin I think is retired from the race. Leclerc closing me down, but not enough. I need to start watching my left rear this lap though, as we are starting to get towards the danger zone. Also my left front as well. Yep, definitely Sorokin there in the Williams. Being careful with this left rear, which is staying at 103%. Very risky stuff at the minute. Okay, we've dropped out of Hulkenberg's DRS here, so he might be vulnerable. Left tyres are overheating. Here comes Charles Leclerc. We're going to go defensive towards turn 1. That Sauber's very fast as Leclerc powers past. I'm going to go deep on the brakes and try and hold my position. And there we go. We hold on to P4. We are scheduled to pit in this lap, so we've done okay for tyre temperatures on these tyres. We should be a little bit better off on the harder compound. So really, it's just this compound I was looking to try and survive. But once we go onto the softs, it should be okay. Left side of tyres here, you can see really starting to get a beating here through the left-handers. Right, through the chicane. Let's tackle these corners. There we go. Burn up the tyres. Last bit of work they're going to have to do today. There we go, into the pit lane. Hulkenberg and Raikkonen stay out. Vettel comes in, as does Leclerc. We're going to hold up. No, we're not going to hold up Vettel. Here we go. Need no hold-ups. Got to be a quick stop. There we go. 2.1. Good stuff. Onto the soft compound tyres. So no hold-ups. A smooth pit stop. And now we're onto a slightly harder compound of tyre. So tyre temperature should be a little bit better off on these. Up to speed now out of the pit lane. Burning up the rears. Just make sure we switch them on nice and early. We've got a nice bit of fuel to burn. So we're going to burn that up straight away here. Hopefully we've got a good pace on these. Also potential to undercut Hulkenberg. So let's try and have a strong outlap on these if we can. Right then, here we go through the final corner. Most people are in the pit lane now, at least pretty much those who are second on track in terms of their respective teams. And there we go, there's Hulkenberg in front of us. He's going to be on cold tyres, so there might be an opportunity here to strike. Through turn 1. Carrying the speed. Through turn 2 into turn 3. A little bit dirty air hitting me there, I have to get out the throttle. Hulkenberg stays in front for now though. And it pays off. Hopefully now we can push on these tyres a little bit more though. We might be able to actually challenge for an overtake, unlike with the super softs, where I was trying to just stick with him really and keep the tyres under control. Right, through the final chicane. We will have DRS on Hulkenberg. It's the closest I've been to him on the straight. Here we go. I think I'm a little bit too far back, personally speaking, personal best. And we're definitely too far back here, but hopefully we can really close up the gap and stay close with him. We're starting to hit some of that style of traffic now, those who are on the longer strategies. We've got Stroll and Grosjean in front of us here. Raikkonen behind Stroll, and now Hulkenberg behind Grosjean. Let's try and get nice and close here to the Renault. Focus on our exit. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely flawless exit. Grosjean might have DRS, yes he does, so it's going to be a massive slipstream fest here. Look at that Renault go, and this is where you can see this Mercedes isn't as good of a car as the top cars here. As Hulkenberg and Grosjean go side by side into turn 1. We have to get on the brakes mid-corner to get out of it and not hit the back of the Renault. And Raikkonen's made the move on Stroll, but you can see I'm probably competing in where I shouldn't really be because this car isn't that good. As Hulkenberg goes around the outside of Romain Grosjean here. Let's try and pick up the scraps. Hulkenberg now with the inside line. Let's try and get that nose down for the apex. Grosjean on the back foot. Hasn't really worked out how I would like. I was hoping to get past Hulkenberg thanks to Grosjean, but instead we're going to get a car between us. Can we get past Grosjean here? Through the fast turn 9. Nope, not going to happen, he's too fast. Instead, Sainz is actually catching me here. I'm going to have to go defend from Sainz. In the other Renault, these banana cars are really coming alive in this race. And you can definitely see why Ferrari and Renault are the top cars. Right, this is it. This time we should get past Grosjean. Nice and close, like last lap with Hulkenberg. This time though, Grosjean doesn't have the best toe. And there we go, now we're going to start to gain on him here. We're going to pull to the inside. Late move. Hopefully we can try and distance ourselves from Carlos Sainz a little bit. And up next, Lance Stroll in the Williams. Let's try and get past him now. Stroll going defensive there a little bit. That's going to put him on the back foot. Racing up towards turn 9. Getting very close. There we go. DRS open now on the Williams. Here we go. Going to pull to the inside. Late move on the brakes into the hairpin. Job done. Very nice overtake. And we are now back up into the points, and P10 Hulkenberg once again up next. Cars in the pit lane as Stroll actually comes in, so that's going to release Sainz into some clean air. But you can see how much of a gap we've opened up to Carlos Sainz here in that time, which is very good stuff. So we're now 8th place in this race. Okay, more cars come in. A few more places to gain. In this case, just the one. Courtesy of Kevin Magnussen here. Front left 105, a little bit dangerous. We're in the danger zone. Got to be careful. Very early for the tyre to overheat, so not sure how we're going to deal with this one, to be honest. I've overfueled so much as well. I forgot how efficient these cars are fuel-wise in Season 5. Oh, a little bit of argy-bargy there between Ocon and Hulkenberg. It looks like Hulkenberg did get the move done, but Ocon's not letting it go just yet without a fight. And they're going to go side by side through here as I accidentally go into first gear. That's not going to help me, but having said that, I'm going to have a nice slipstream here. Hulkenberg has DRS. I'm going to get a lovely tow from both of these guys. Here we go on Ocon. I'm going to try and get the tow on that Force India. Down the inside of Hulkenberg. This is my chance. Third gear used to really get the car slowed down. And there we go. That's exactly what I wanted. And Ocon's actually got back past Hulkenberg. So that is beautiful. And that was the window of opportunity that I was looking for with all this traffic. And we've cashed in and we've made the move. So there we go. Job done. And we are ahead of Hulkenberg. Now I've got to try and run at a decent pace whilst also watching out my tyre temperatures. I've got a feeling my left front is overheating. There you go. Got to be careful. I need to try and bring that down if I can. However way possible. Okay, so we've got Ericsson in the pit lane, along with the remaining car to stop, which is Daniel Ricciardo. Ericsson, Ricciardo on one-stoppers going straight onto the mediums. So we're now P3 in this race. But Ricciardo and Ericsson have played themselves into this race with the strategy. They're a little bit faster than the usual midfield cars. So obviously with tyre strategy and a one-stop, they're now a major factor in this race. So right now I'd say we're P5. At the minute we're stable. Tyres are on the brink on the left side, especially the left front, but I found a way to drive and manage the temperature. So I'm not exactly pushing, but I am managing the tyre temperatures, and I'm keeping a gap to Hulkenberg of around 1.8 to 2 seconds, and that's all I need. So let's keep this working. I know there's going to be some comments saying, why don't you use the ERS? But the thing is, if I start using the hot lap a lot more than this, I'm going to start entering that zone, and I'm going to make my tyre overheating worse. So as long as my tyre temperatures are happy and I'm not aggravating them, I'm quite happy to just use rich and overtake and hot lap on the straights, to be honest. I don't want to make my tyre temperatures any worse. We are scheduled to come in this lap, so once again we've managed to make the stint work, and it should be a little bit easier once again on the mediums to overheat the front. So let's make sure we get this in lap decent and focus then on a decent stop. Once again through the front chicane, trying to burn up these tyres as best as we can into rich mix. I want to try and burn off some fuel in the pit lane, get it all slowed down. There we go. Right, not many cars in the pit lane, we should be okay. Quick stop from the boys, come on. There we go, perfect. 2.3, we're out just in front of Alonso, and that was a critical position that we needed to come out in. A little pocket of space. Hulkenberg's been held up by Alonso a little bit, so that's going to drop him back a little bit up to speed. Here we go, getting those rears nice and hot with some rear wheel spin. A little bit of battling in front here. If we can just clear these slower cars, tyres feel very, very tricky. Sainz behind on softs, but I think he's done an extra stop, so he might have to come in again, because I noticed he's done a fastest lap of the race not too long ago, so Sainz might have had to do an extra stop. He might be on a 3-stop strategy either way. Let's try and switch these mediums on if we can. They feel horrible at the minute, they really do. Right then, Ericsson's in front of us. This is for position, so we need to get past Marcus. Lewis in the pit lane, you can see on the mediums. And then Ricciardo's a little bit further up the road, and that's for position. So right now I think we're off the podium, so we've got work to do in this final stint if we want to get this podium back. And it needs to start now. I need to get past Ericsson before Sainz catches up to me. Although I'll say that Hulkenberg's got past him, so I reckon Sainz might have car issues. Purple sector 2, strong pace on the mediums. They've switched on now, they're working nicely. Okay then, on the back of Ericsson. The only problem is he's got DRS off of Van Dorn, so we're not going to be able to pass him. Look how fast that Sauber is. Personal best as we've got Leclerc in the pit lane, but right now we're not going to pass Ericsson here. He's going to go for a move on Van Dorn actually. And there you go. Let's try and negotiate this. Very close to Van Dorn there. Come on, let's get the speed, get the rotation. We can get past this McLaren, come on. I'm starting to lose time here. I'm going to try and go around the outside. Oh, yes, good move. Very nice. Ericsson kind of blocking me in here. I can't brake late. But we are going to get the move done on Van Dorn. Ericsson there. You can see the acceleration in that Sauber. Bit of a brake check there. Just going to try and lay off him for now. I'm going to try and get the run, though, through turn 9. Not the best run. I clipped too much inside curb, and that's going to bring Hulkenberg back into play. We should get Ericsson down the pit straight this lap. You can see Ricciardo, though, on the mini-map. He's leading this race. So strategy-wise, it's worked out for him missing out on the top 10 in qualifying. Here we go, this is it. At the final corner. Not my greatest exit, but I reckon we're still within range as we've got Hartley in the pit lane. Here we go. We're gaining on Ericsson. There we go. Now we've got the momentum. Down the inside of turn 1, and that's for position. And up into P4 in this Grand Prix. No more slow cars. Up next is Kimi Räikkönen. If these tires don't over here, I want to say I might have to pace, especially if they start battling with Ricciardo. So let's see what happens here, but let's try and open up a gap now, as Hulkenberg has to get past both of those guys. There we go, fast lap of the Grand Prix, so we've got some good pace. Very happy with that. Let's try and maintain that if we can. Sebastian Vettel with the 17.3. Fast lap of the Grand Prix from him. I'm going to improve to a 0.4, but ultimately I think the Ferrari's got a bit too much pace. We are faster than Räikkönen, but the gap's just a little bit too big, I think. I'm kind of relying on Räikkönen battling with Ricciardo, to be honest. Still, pace feels consistent. The car's working well. 0.6 that lap. Gap to Kimi inside 6 seconds. Half second on that lap taken out of the advantage. So we're still chipping away here. I just need Kimi to battle Ricciardo for a couple of laps and not get past him first time of asking, and then we've got a chance. A 0.7, more time gained on Kimi, although that lap tyres felt like they were going a little bit. Right, gap to Kimi 5.3, I don't think it's going to happen. We need them to battle and battle really hard.
Right, some information on Grosjean. They're retiring from the race.
Grosjean retires from the Spanish Grand Prix in the Haas. I can't see this happening now. I'm just not eating out enough of a gap to Kimi, to be honest. Tyres are actually under control temperature-wise, and I'm able to push at max speed, so it ultimately just comes down to not having the car, I think. We can't really make the gap. And Räikkönen has now passed Ricciardo, so that's over and done with, and they're not actually battling anymore, so I'm not sure it's going to happen. Right then, so 4 whole laps to go, should I say, and gap is 3.8. I need Ricciardo to really start struggling with his tyres now if I want to have a chance of catching him. I don't know, Ricciardo is just keeping a gap because he's holding onto Räikkönen's DRS. It's really frustrating. I can't make the inroads that I need because I've actually got the pace on him. I can see I've got pace on Ricciardo, I can tell by the corners. But he's holding onto Kimi's DRS. Second track extend warning of the Grand Prix. One more and I'm in trouble. That was a strong lap. 2 laps to go now we cross the line. A personal best, a 17.2. Gap inside 3 seconds, but I still think he has DRS off of Kimi. I'm going to really push now and use up all my ERS. Give it everything. See if we can do this. Here we go into the final corner now, onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. I think I'm a little bit too far back, 2.1 the gap, a 0.3 that lap, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen now, so I'm just going to cruise to the finish. Although, having said that, even though I'm going to miss out on the podium, I am not disappointed at all in my performance. First time back in career mode in pretty much 2 months. Getting used to these really fast cars in Season 5. And we weathered the storm with the tyre temperatures early on. And all in all, I will take that. That's better than I thought. P4 for us in the Spanish Grand Prix. Vettel wins and Räikkönen comes home in second. Ricciardo gets the podium on the one-stop strategy. And we get P4. All in all, a decent day's work. And there we have it then, looking at the race results. Vettel wins at Spain ahead of Raikkonen and Ricciardo. We get fourth ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, and all in all we finished 7 seconds clear of him, which was pretty damn good in the end. And then Lewis Hamilton P6, my teammate, recovering a few places and getting P6, which is not a bad day's work for us as a team. And then Marcus Ericsson P7, also on the one-stop strategy, pulling out on the magic like Ricciardo. And then Alonso, Verstappen and Gasly ran off the points with Sainz on a 3-stopper there, and Leclerc all the way down to P14, something not quite right for him. Because he was battling us earlier on in the Grand Prix, and then Sorokin and Grosjean retired from the race. In terms of the standings, though, let's have a look at this, and we are P6, so there we go. Now that I've clued myself in, Lewis is a championship leader, Raikkonen second, so Vettel gets himself into the mix, and we gain some crucial points back on Leclerc and Sainz. To be fair, that P4 is actually a solid 12 points, because before that we had 24, so we've gained quite a few places in the championship. So all in all, a good day's work, and we go to Monaco next, which is going to be interesting. Finally, the constructors, you can see Ferrari overtake us with that 1-2 finish for them, and they're going to gain a haul of points. Hopefully though, myself and Lewis can turn up at Monaco and do big things for the team. But all in all, that is going to be it here for Spain, and I can tell you guys, we're not going to have enough points on the R&D tree to make an upgrade, so I'm just going to call it here and say this is the end of the episode. If you guys did enjoy the video, then please do drop a like, and also get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content, and turn notifications to not miss a single video from me. And finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next episode very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.